So why is it called The Magician's Way?
Well, because that is the magician's way. The magician's way is a way of, it's an orientation in which you're focusing on the end result
Mm-hmm.
rather than on the process.
Mm-hmm.
And if you study magic outside of its cliched understanding, magic, as Colin Wilson, who's the sort of arch exponent of magic, written, most probably the definitive books on magic. What he said about magic is that it's a way of life where you're driven by your intuition, aided by intellect, but driven by intuition rather than your rational framework, and a way of life where you are, through that intuition led to your vision, where the vision, the end result, is the thing that you follow. It's the most important thing, not the process.
Okay.
So it's actually like a definition of magic,
Yeah.
really, and so that hence the magician's way.
Mm-hmm. Which I believe has also is going to America.
Well, we're in negotiations, in the sort of final stations of negotiations, and looking very good to go to
Are we
America.
allowed to mention what sort of a contract you have? The
Um,
magic number?
Millions of dollars and copies, and it's big,
Yeah.
it really is big. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's big.
Now they've also asked you though to change the ending of the book. Why is that in America?
In America, I
Mm.
hope I'm not breaching any contractual clauses here by
I
saying
hope
this.
so. You're not either.
Well, we haven't signed it yet, so I couldn't be.
And we haven't
But
mentioned the money.
no, but the reason why they want me to change the ending of the book
Mm.
is because they feel that the ending of the book doesn't give a clear enough resolution to the story, in the sense that the book ends where he gets it. He gets all the principles.
Everything comes into
Yeah,
place in a
every year,
magical.
and
Yeah.
and he's learnt all the
Yeah.
lessons, and that's where it ends currently in the Australian edition. But they wanted to. They don't want me to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
They actually just want me to add something, and to add something that indicates that he stays married, that he makes more money, that he lives happily ever after, and everyone becomes friends at the end, and you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted really unambiguous, that it all works out.
Are you amazed at the response that you've been receiving with the book?
I am,
Yeah.
yes.
Why? What had you envisaged and what's actually happening?
Well, because I'm not a highly educated person. I finished school,
Mm-hmm.
but that's it. I never went to university or college or anything, and I'm not trained as a writer. I've only ever written Christmas cards before. Really never studied writing, never practiced writing in any way, never had any sense of myself as a writer, and I wrote The Magician's Way originally as a textbook for my clients, and I never saw the book having an audience of more than a few hundred people. I thought it'd be for the people who did my training, and a little broader than that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's all. And when I was writing the introduction to the book, I was writing about a golf lesson I'd had with a friend of mine called Chris Barkway that had really inspired me. And so I wrote that as the introduction. And then I got carried away, and I just realized through my intuition that I was onto something, that something was presenting itself, and the book was really a story, and then I just allowed it to flow out of me. But all the time that I wrote it as well, I actually thought it was absolute rubbish. I just cringed every sentence I wrote to myself. But I had the discipline to just go through with it, because I've trained myself in that, is to stay with my intuition no matter what I think and feel. And then I finished it, and then I took it to an editor who was a manuscript assessor for a very big publishing house, and she looked at it and said to me, "This is really good, and we can do something with it." And that's the first inkling I had that it could have been something. but even then, I didn't know, and really, it's I'm totally surprised, because even then, when we brought it out, it was being bought up by my network, which didn't surprise me.
Because
But
they were obviously loyal to you.
they are loyal
Yep.
to me and
Yep.
that, but the funny thing is, even my loyal network had given me a lot of negative feedback about it, because they were reading it from a point of view of how would other people outside of our network and understanding receive it. How would women receive it when there's certain scenes that.
Okay, what is that scene that's in there?
Well, there's a.
And why was it put in there?
Well, one of the things that I had to convey the principles that I was working with, teaching, was how to deal with conflict. So I thought, what's a scene I can use to impose conflict on the character, to create a massive tension? And I just felt that the guy, his character was such. If you read the book, you can understand that the way that the character was going, I just felt that what he'd be confronted by was aggression and sexuality. He'd be confronted by alpha maleness. And so I took him down into a gentleman's club, where there these heavy duty alpha males, topless women, that sort of thing, and where he was able to learn to go through a transformation, which is a very powerful scene in the book. And subsequently, a lot of people, mostly women, tell me they love that scene and think it's a really interesting, fascinating, and powerful scene, which I intended it to be. But on reading it, and people reading it from the point of view, which I didn't ask them to, but reading it from the point of view of, well, we know William and his work and all that, but how are women going to read this, and how are other people going to read it? And so the feedback was very negative. They're saying women are going to hate this book, and other people are going to hate this book. And I was trying to ask them, but how do you like it? And they're going, well, I don't know, because I've seen it I'm just telling you from another person's point of view. So I had to dismiss their opinion in the end and go with my editor, who was a really, is a great editor, very experienced, and also totally not in the personal development, new age, transformation. She's meat and potatoes, a really straight person, and just go with her opinion and what she believed and felt. And, she helped me craft the book, and then that's what we brought out. And then when it just started selling beyond the network, and really getting good reviews, and it really surprised me. But the thing that has pleasantly surprised me is not how much people love it, but the feedback I get of how much it's done for people in their lives.
Well, on that note, we'll go for another break, and we'll come back and find out a little bit more about that. Back with you.